The Arizona Wildcats beat the Kansas State Wildcats. Final score, Arizona Wildcats 72 to the Kansas State Wildcats 68. Kansas State, the Kansas State Wildcats have a very strong scorer in Marcus Foster. That can be, that can be shown by he made 6 for 8 from three-point land. I think the University of Arizona, Salim Stoudemire, I think he made, was it 8 three-pointers or something like that in a game, and that was a big deal. So here, Marcus Foster from Kansas State, he made 6 for 8 from three-point land. He's almost undeniable. You cannot. It's very hard to stop him. I know that T.J. McConnell for the Arizona Wildcats, he was kind of trying to defend against Marcus Foster, and it's almost like a losing battle. It's just, he couldn't stop Marcus Foster, and that was a shame, because Marcus Foster was the one that scored 20. He scored 23 points, and the next people, there was 2 guys for Kansas State that scored the next highest amount of points, and that was 9 points. So huge difference. If you knock out Marcus Foster, if you can control him somewhat, then you have much more of a chance, because that was a very close game. I mean, the University of Arizona Wildcats, I think there was 11 team or 11 changes as far as who was winning, because Kansas State would win and would be winning, and then Arizona Wildcats would go on a little run, and then they would be winning, and so it was and then Kansas State would do something, with their free throws or whatever, and then they would start winning, and so it was a back and forth battle. But luckily, the Arizona Wildcats were able to kind of finish this one out. I think that Stanley Johnson from the Arizona Wildcats, he stepped up quite a bit in this game. He scored 14 points. He wasn't the highest scorer on the team. The highest scorer on the team was Caleb Tarczewski, which is kind of interesting, because Caleb Tarczewski was 0 for 4 from free throw land right in the beginning, but then Stanley Johnson, the freshman, he made his free throws, and then I think Caleb Tarczewski kind of saw, yep, it can be done. I can make these shots. So he started to knock down his free throws, because he was able to. He missed those first 4 free throws. Caleb Tarczewski missed those first 4 free throws, but then he made the next all the rest of his free throws just fine. He had 3 total rebounds, which is kind of interesting. You don't expect that from a 7-foot guy that, he was with such a contribution. But the person that got the highest amount of rebounds was actually Rondé Hollis-Jefferson with 8. He had 2 offensive, and the next one that had a very high amount of rebounds was Stanley Johnson, the freshman, with 7 total rebounds and 2 offensive rebounds. The Hollis-Jefferson, could make his threes, but Stanley Johnson made 1 out of 2 from three-point land, and I think that I read that T.J. McConnell, that Sean Miller was for the coach for the Arizona Wildcats, was trying to get T.J. McConnell to shoot a little bit more. And T.J. McConnell, I guess he started to feel comfortable because right there at the end, then he knocked down a three-pointer. He was 1 for 1 from three-point land. So I guess he just finally started to feel comfortable. He had 6 assists. T.J. McConnell had 6 assists. I usually I've noticed that T.J. McConnell is best whenever he gets, I would say, 7 or 8, closer to 8 assists a game, especially when, especially whenever that kind of shows that we are taking care of business and doing good in the game, and he didn't do so good in this game. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because he did get 2 steals also, and that was more steals than anybody else on the Arizona Wildcats got. So he did pretty good. Because if you add the amount of steals and the amount of assists, then he had 8 altogether, and that's pretty good. He had T.J. McConnell had 3 turnovers, so the assist to turnover ratio was 6-3. So that's not too bad. I think his assist to turnover ratio was like 4 point something or something. So it's usually pretty good. But anyway, Brendan Ashley was kind of quiet this game. He only had 10 points, but I think that Kansas State had some players on him that were able to contain Brendan Ashley pretty good, and so that's why they were able to. Brendan Ashley only scored 10 points, but he's money. Brendan Ashley, whenever I've seen him shoot free throws or shoot those outside shots, the 15-pointers, or the 15-footers, or the 8 to the 18-footers from outside. He's just money. He's so smooth. His shot is just it's smooth looking, and you could tell that he really feels comfortable in his shot, and there's not a lot that can get him rattled up. He was a little bit rattled up this game because the amount of points that he got weren't that great, and like I said, somebody Kansas State was able to contain him quite well, and so he didn't have a lot of shot opportunities, a lot of open shot opportunities. He made 4 out of 5 from free throws, and so the rest of the points that he got, 6 points, were from finally getting cleared up, finally getting a space that was open. But what he did, what Brendan Ashley did is he made a lot of contributions. He would pass the ball off to the other tall guy, the other tall post player, Caleb Tarczewski, and that's why Caleb Tarczewski ended up with. That's one of the reasons why Caleb Tarczewski ended up with 18 points, is because Brendan Ashley kind of took the brunt of the defense from Kansas State, and whenever he took that away, then that left Caleb Tarczewski open somewhat, and he was able to, Caleb Tarczewski was able to capitalize on those shots. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson didn't really have too much of didn't really have as much of a contribution as far as points this game. He only ended up with 6 points, and 2 or more free throws. So he did do a little bit of dribble penetration and was able to get in there, and so that was cool. And he, like I said, he ended up with 8 rebounds. So he made more. He made his contribution was more of just getting those rebounds. And the Arizona Wildcats did out rebound Kansas State this time. So that was good because last game Arizona Wildcats played against was it not UC Irvine, but they played against Missouri Tigers, and they got out rebounded by 2 from the Missouri Tigers. And I heard that Sean Miller, for the Arizona Wildcats coach, was pretty upset about that. So the Arizona Wildcats were able to out rebound Kansas State, and one of the people that really took it to heart was Stanley Johnson with 7 total rebounds. So I think he really was able to take it in as far as the amount of how the importance of rebounds, because Brandon Ashley, he ended up with 5, and Caleb Tarczewski ended up with 3 rebounds, but they were all offensive, and offensive rebounds I think are really that's really hard on the ego of the other team. Whenever you get those second chance and third chance opportunities, then it really is hard on the on the mojo of the other team. In this circumstance, it was Kansas State Wildcats. I can't I can't imprint enough how important Marcus Foster was to the Kansas State Wildcats. He, with 23 points, and our guards just had a heck of a time defending him. Gabe York and T.J. McConnell. Gabe York is a pretty darn good defender, and Gabe York had the second amount of points, second greatest amount of points with 15. He's just, I think he kind of gets lost in the mix a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why I don't mention Gabe York as much as I should. But he made 2 for 4 from three-point land, and they were big ones. They were very important, and they were ones that kind of brought the U of A, University of Arizona Wildcats fans over the edge. It kind of took them over the edge and said, yes, we can, we can win this, and big confidence builders. I still think Parker Jackson-Cartwright is really fun to watch, and he knocked down a couple free throws. He had 1 assist. He didn't make a whole lot of contributions. He had 2 points in total, but it's just, I don't know. The thing about it is he's little, he's tiny, he's skinny, but you can't overlook him, and I think that's something that Kansas State didn't do. They said, oh, Parker Jackson-Cartwright is out here, so we better pay attention, because otherwise he's real crafty, he's real sneaky, he can score points on us, no problem, and so we got to watch out for Jackson-Cartwright. And so That's why I think that's why Jackson-Cartwright only got 2 points, but still, he's another big contributor. I was kind of disappointed a little bit in Dusan Rustic. I was kind of hoping that he would make a little bit more contributions, but hey, it's just good to get the Arizona Wildcat to get this victory. I think that's one of the reasons, one of the things that Sean Miller was so concerned about was, this this is a pretty tight game. Anyway, the Arizona Wildcats were able to pull out the victory here against the Kansas State Wildcats. The Arizona Wildcats final score: Arizona Wildcats 72 to the